All right, I'm here today with actor Mike Manning. Not only is he an actor, though, he's an executive producer. He's done it all, and he's been bringing a lot of important stories to the forefront. So, if I understand correctly, started acting when you were in high school, in your high school shows?
I did, yeah. I grew up in Colorado,
Mhm.
and well, number one, thanks for having me.
Yes, thank you
I
for joining
grew
me.
up in Colorado, and I started doing theater when I was younger, and it was something that it was weird because my parents weren't really involved in theater. There was nobody around me really involved, but I was just sort of drawn to it, sort of like a moth to the flame. And I remember I would always walk past the theater room to go to my normal classes, and I would always look inside and watch people doing things, and I just always had this natural curiosity about it. And then I started auditioning for school plays just to do it, and then I fell in love with it. And I'd be running from wrestling practice to play practice, and it was weird, kind of like that High School Musical double life. Like I wouldn't
Yeah.
tell my theater friends about wrestling, and I wouldn't tell my wrestling friends about theater, and I kind of tried to keep it separate. And then
Mhm.
my senior year of high school, everything kind of just came together, and it was cool. Like my buddies would come see my play practice, and then my theater friends would go see my wrestling meets, and it was
That's
nice.
all.
Yeah.
You don't have to break out any Troy Bolton songs. I'll let you
No,
on
well,
that.
yeah. Just like I'm going on a quest. I need to know these things.
There you
Why?
go.
Everything's so dramatic. Yeah.
No High School Musical for us this interview, unfortunately. Unless you want
All right,
to
fine.
song, I'm fine with
That's
it.
fine. Well, you'll have to have me back, and it'll just be a
I will.
music.
That'll be the the extended clip, the after
Yeah.
show, as they say. So you then went to college, right? Were you interested in business after that, or what was your trajectory?
Yeah, I kind of just I love that. I was just gonna say trajectory is a great word.
Yeah.
Um, I just I didn't know what I wanted to do, so I just went to school for business. My dad was in business, so he encouraged me to go,
Mhm.
and um, and I kind of just was going through the motions. But I knew that I sort of felt claustrophobic in Colorado and with what I was doing. And
Mhm.
so I looked for every reason to escape. So my freshman year of college, I got a job as a travel agent at this company that specifically organized tours for college students. And so I would go and travel a bunch with them on these tours with a bunch of my friends. And then my sophomore year, I got an internship at Disney World to be best friends with
Mhm.
uh, Buzz Lightyear and Goofy, Pluto and Rafiki and Eeyore and all these characters that I got to be and be a part of. Um, and I was taking online classes at the same time in business. So it was this constant like entertainment over here, business over here, and it was just this figuring out what I wanted to do, and I was being pulled in different directions.
Mhm.
And then my junior year, I lived in Mexico for a semester just to learn Spanish and just because I wanted to get out. So I was like
That's interesting.
looking for every opportunity. And then my junior year is when went to I was studying for a business test in the library with my best friend John Russell,
Mhm.
and he comes up to me and he goes, "Hey, you used to audition and stuff, right?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "And we're studying for like a business test." And he says, "There's an open casting call for a show called Real World. Will you come with me to the show or to the casting and help me get on the show?" And I said, "What's that?" I had no idea. I'd never seen the show before. So I
Right.
said, "What's that?" And he goes, "It's this reality show. Don't worry about it. Just come and help me get on the show." And so I did, and they ended up casting me on the show, and that changed the trajectory of my entire life.
And you were also, if I understand correctly, you were more into the political DC scene when you were there, right? You spoke on Capitol Hill, is that correct?
Yeah, it was kind of cool because it could have, from what I understand, unscripted TV all comes down to the editing and
Mhm.
how the producers think your character should be portrayed. So my character, we shot in 2009, the show aired in 2010, and it was right on the heels of Obama being elected. There was this sort of like interest with younger people in politics, and so my character on the show I got an internship with the Human Rights Campaign. I got an internship with Energy Action Coalition, which is like a initiative to go green and hold lawmakers accountable for clean, renewable energy sources and green legislation and everything else. So I got these internships and I started working, and my storyline, and it was honest. It was, I think I had an average understanding for somebody my age at the time of how a law was passed and how the legislative branch worked and everything else. But it was not very much.
Mhm.
And then over the course of 3.5 months, I got these internships and I started learning more about the political system and how laws were passed and how members of Congress, you would meet and lobby members of Congress for certain issues and everything else. So by the end of the season, I'm going in there meeting with members of Congress and senators and going in there talking to them about certain laws that we either wanted to repeal or pass. At the time, we were focused on repealing Don't Ask, Don't Tell and passing the Employment Non-Discrimination Act.
Mhm.
And so I went from barely knowing how a law was passed to going and meeting with members of Congress trying to change laws. So it was really cool.
That's really cool. That's like a skill that probably helps you even to this day, like being able to lobby in front of Congress and that kind
Yeah,
of, not
yeah.
to
I mean,
go down the
I've
political rabbit hole, but like, do you think you would have been able to do it in today's landscape?
my mom always thought that I was going to be a lawyer because I love to argue, and
Her or just in
so
general?
it just I mean yeah I think that it's easy for me to I'm a big brother. I'm the oldest of three, and I sort of grew up with like a protective instinct. And so it's easy for me to get really passionate about things that I feel strongly about, especially when I feel like there's a group of people being mistreated. And
Mhm.
that's what I felt when I was lobbying, is that a group of people were being discriminated against, and I wanted to go and sort of speak my mind and do what I can to change that.
Yeah.
And I've sort of taken that with me. And luckily, like I'm still involved in politics. I'm still involved in a handful of nonprofit organizations. And I think the one thing they all have in common is I see something happening that I don't agree with,
Mhm.
and I sort of put my effort towards trying to change that.
That's awesome because a lot of times people in the entertainment industry could get discouraged from doing that because you get the whole shut up and act, shut up and sing, shut up and do this, and don't worry about politics. So that's great that you're still involved and didn't let naysayers and like people who have a lot to say but say nothing um, influence the fact that you still get involved. I think that's great.
Yeah, no, thank you. I think it's been even one thing I've learned since I've lived here in Los Angeles and have really been pursuing a career in entertainment full time is the power of
Mhm.
film and television. So above and beyond what you just said in terms of actors, giving speeches or, posting things and sort of using their voice and their soapbox positively
Mhm.
to educate people. I feel like that's great, but I've also discovered the power of film and television
Mhm.
in terms of making that part of the stories and creating projects that will make people think. For instance, a couple years ago, I did a documentary on homeless youth,
Mhm.
and we traveled around for years and we gathered all this footage of homeless kids
Yeah.
and then we met with people like Halle Berry and Rosario Dawson and Tiffany Haddish and John Bon Jovi, and I was able to talk to them and to learn about what they were doing for the issue of homelessness. Rosario Dawson, actors and actresses that I love and entertainers that I love. Jewel, I talked to Jewel and she's a Grammy winning artist, but in the interview, she talks about how she washed her hair in the sink of a Wendy's before a job interview because she didn't have, she was homeless.
Mhm.
And just gathering stories like that, and then releasing that film out into the world. It was a film called Lost in America,
Right.
and then see the impact of that film was tremendous. And now I'm sort of hooked on creating content that I think matters and that I want to put out in the world and make a positive impact.
That's amazing. And also no one should be diminished from doing things like that because you're an actor or a singer. Like you're a
Yeah.
human being, just like anybody else, a plumber. You know what I mean? Like I never could understand the rationale behind that particular, oh, just be an actor or just be a singer and don't have an opinion. It
It's
doesn't make sense.
yeah, I watched the We Are the World documentary. I think it's on Netflix right now, and it was the making of Lionel Richie and Michael Jackson coming together to do the We Are the World. And that was, I don't know if you've seen it, but that was incredible. And it just showed me there was Bruce Springsteen and Cyndi Lauper and all of these other artists that came together and they recorded it. They stayed up all night after the American Music Awards. And I think Lionel Richie that year won like 12 awards, and then they're staying up all night to create this song that's going to combat world hunger.
Yeah,
And that's just like the perfect example of artists using their voices and using their talents. I do think, there is a difference between people being obsessed with an artist and then artists posting things that are sometimes misinformation or irresponsible. I feel like that is a different
yeah,
topic than what we're discussing
absolutely.
in relationship to like artists using their movies or film or songs like voices to actually create art that
Mhm.
actually impacts people. I feel like those are different things, and
Really agree with you.
I like the second one. I like to just let my art speak for itself a lot of the
Yeah,
time.
that's wonderful. When you were done with the real world, is that when you started to really seriously focus on acting? And if so, what were the kind of roles that you were A, going after, and then B, booking? I know you've done some horror films, which is like kind of classic for a young actor to do it when they're first starting out.
Yeah, yeah. It was a interesting journey. It was a
Mhm.
lot of fun. Um, just I feel like I'm at my best when I am challenged and when I am doing something new because I substitute all I take all that nervousness and I just sort of use it to drive me. And so I had finished filming Real World. I
Mhm.
was finishing my last semester of college, and I didn't at that point really know how that show was going to impact my life. In my mind, sort of ignorance is bliss. I'm finishing college for business, and the episodes of Real World started airing, and overnight, everybody. I went from being like average Joe, had some friends, had my whatever, to like everybody knew my name, everybody knew like wanted to be my friend, my partner for business, and everybody that. But also on top of that, everybody knew my business and my family and my, those secrets that you hide
Yeah.
from everybody except for like friends. Like, everybody knew everything, and I would be in the cereal aisle, and somebody would come up to me and say, "Hey, Mike, how's your mom doing? How's this? How's this?" And I'm like, "Who are you? What
Yeah,
is
like,
this?"
why are you asking me that? Yeah.
Yeah, and so it was kind of a culture shock for me,
Mhm.
but in the best way possible. And then I had a manager reach out to me in Los Angeles, and he found me on Facebook. And this was before I set everything private and everything else. He found me on Facebook and he said, "Mike, I think you should move out to LA. You should pursue a career in entertainment. Give it 6 months and see what happens."
Mhm.
And I said, "Okay." And I packed up my car. I drove out to California, and that was 12, 13 years ago.
And you
Yeah.
pretty much worked ever since you left. I mean, there's not a lot of gaps in your projects, whether
It's
they
yeah, it's
be
been nice, and I've
funny.
been lucky. I mean, I've worked my butt off,
Oh
and
yeah.
I've also been lucky. I feel like it's a combo of both of those things.
Mhm.
You sort of have these opportunities that universe presents you with these opportunities, but if you hadn't worked your butt off, to be ready for those things, then they sort of fizzle out. So I am the example of somebody. I teach acting class also, and what I tell my students is like if you keep at it, if you keep at it, if you keep working hard, you will eventually get your shot
Mhm.
with the right audition or the right meeting or the right something to
Mhm.
impress the right person. And I think that's what I was doing a lot in the first 3 years I was here. I was just taking a lot of classes. I was taking improv at the Groundlings. I was taking comedy at Leslie Kahn. I was taking scene study at with Adam Lazar White, and I felt like in the beginning I had imposter syndrome.
Mhm.
So because I didn't go to Juilliard, and I didn't, I haven't been acting since I was 7 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did plays and I did theater, but it wasn't the same in my mind. So I had imposter syndrome. So I was taking all these classes, and then I started booking. Guest star TV guest star roles. I did this guest star role on a Disney show called Crash and Bernstein
Mhm.
on Disney XD, and then I did Hawaii Five O, which was cool. And then because of Crash and Bernstein, I got an audition for Cloud Nine, and Cloud Nine was this Disney snowboarding movie, and I ended up booking it and doing it. And then after that, my career sort of took the next step up, and I was being offered bigger roles, and then I was offered bigger roles, and now, I did uh, a couple years on Days of Our Lives, and that was a lot of fun. I did a handful of episodes of This Is Us on NBC, which
Right.
it's an award-winning show, and it was a really fun character. And
Yeah.
so I can honestly say the last couple of years have been the most exciting for me in terms of being an actor.
I like what you said about not being Juilliard trained, and yet you're teaching acting now, and it's probably an important voice to have as a teacher because not everyone went to Juilliard, not everybody went to the Royal Academy in London and all that other stuff.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
like for you to be, you're almost like how do I phrase this without sounding like the other people are too elite? But like you bring like a real man, like a real person perspective to the job of, hey, yeah, I wasn't classically trained, but you can still be successful in the acting business. You don't have to have spent a ton of money, and yes, you get great training there, but like you kind of did it on your own, and that says a lot about your drive, actually.
Thank you. Yeah, I think I can't fault children of actors, sons and daughters of actors, that want to also enter the business. I think that you have, I think Reese Witherspoon's kids are acting, and Uma Thurman's, Maya, what is it, Maya?
Like blank,
Um,
you did.
no, it's Uma Thurman and, oh my gosh, Ethan Hawke, Maya Hawke.
Maya Hawk,
So
yeah.
so Maya Hawke, she was on Stranger Things, and she killed it. She was great. She has the acting chops to back it up. But I would say, so nothing against Maya. I would say inherently it is easier for her to get that audition than it is somebody that doesn't know, that isn't the son or daughter of a major movie star, right? So you're right. I do like to say that in the classes that I teach are, I am an example of somebody that moved to Los Angeles, didn't know a soul, and started building those relationships, started working, and then have worked my way up to where I am. So yeah, thank you for noticing.
Absolutely. And I feel like, you lobbied on Capitol Hill, you're lobbying for these actors who are in your class. I feel like that comes very naturally, it seems like to you.
Yeah, I just listen, Brian. I just want to be a superhero
Yeah.
when I grow up. So,
Whether
uh,
on film or behind the scenes, right?
yeah.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. So what was it like when you were coming up in the industry, and were there times you got discouraged? You don't have to mention specific projects by name, obviously, but if there were projects that you're like, oh, I really don't want to do this one, but I need to pay the bills. Were there any times that happened to you that kind of discouraged you from continuing?
Yeah, I mean, I think now I've gotten really good at not wanting it, because you sort of have to let it go. You have to release every audition or every meeting or everything. It's just, George Clooney said this. His career changed when he started walking in the room, realizing that he didn't have the job when he walked in. If he didn't have the job when he left, it's okay. His life is fine. And he would do his best and work hard, but then he would just leave it at the door
Yeah.
and then just get on with his life. And it changed how he approached the work and how he approached these characters, and also how he approached rejection. And I think now I'm good at that. I'm good at sort of doing it, doing my best, and then just letting it go. The flip side of that is the closer that I get to certain things, especially the bigger things, the more that I allow myself to want it. And it's only human nature.
Of
So
course.
there
Yeah.
was there was a project last year in particular where I was working, it was the kind of role that I really wanted to do. I'd be working with these movie stars that I had grown up idolizing. It was a really great project, a great, um, just a great acting role, a great representation of like the types of inspirational projects I want to be a part of. And I met with the director. I had, I thought I had it. I went in a handful of times, and I thought it was thought I had the role in the bag. So I sort of opened my heart a little bit, and I let myself want it just a little bit. And then and it was down to me and one other guy, and it went to the other guy.
Mhm.
And when I didn't get it, I was a little heartbroken because I let myself want it. So I think it's both of those things. I'm better now at having that shield and sort of, not letting rejection affect me. But once in a while, there will be that project that creeps in that I really love and I really want. And then when I don't get it, of course, I'm sad about it.
And you seem like such a likable guy. I'm not sure why everybody wants to kill you in your projects. What is what is it about you that you have such a killable face? And I guess
I,
because then you get nail gunned to death in one of your projects.
oh no, where did you hear that? Yes, I do. One of my first films, I get nail gunned to death by a killer gingerbread cookie.
Oh, that's awesome. I mean, that's what did you draw on in your real life to your acting choice for that? I mean,
Yeah, yeah. I had somebody really shoot me
nail
with a
gun.
nail before, a nail gun. No.
You just
Um,
stand in your driveway and have your friends plug you in with
yeah, 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 yeah. I went paintballing, kind of the same thing.
no, but
Uh,
those are
I
just
don't.
different kinds of things like to get to do those things in the beginnings of your career and just establish that base, even though some people might think negatively of it. I mean, people still think negatively of soaps, and you killed it on that. So the
Yeah,
nail gun, well, you did get killed there too, though. So
I did. I mean, so like on days, it was kind of bittersweet because I knew going into it that there was an end to the character, and I sort of knew he was bad, but I didn't know how bad. They didn't tell me how bad Charlie was when I went into that. They were like, "Yeah, he has a sketchy past," but they
uh-huh.
didn't really go into details. And then by the time they told me, I was already, a month into filming and fell in love with the character and the storyline and the people and everything. So I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm along for this ride.
Yeah.
But um, but yeah, I don't know why people want to kill me.
Well, you've come back, so that was
Well,
good. I mean, they brought you back. You didn't look great when you got brought back, but at least you came back.
yeah, yeah, the zombie,
Uh,
the
Yeah.
spirit, the figment of Ava's imagination.
I
Yeah.
mean, what more could you want? It
I mean,
doesn't
I love
like
working with
it doesn't
Tamra.
sound like the nail gun though. That one it didn't seem like you're going to come back from. So I'm sorry for that for you.
Yeah, not gonna didn't come back from the nail gun. I
Didn't-
mean, I love Tamra, and so every scene I get to do with her is a gift, and it's amazing. And so they asked me, they're like, Mike, we want to bring you back as a figment of her imagination. I was like, sure. I was like, fine, whatever. Obviously, I mean, I love Salem and I love Days, and I love the fans, I love the world, I love everything about it. So
Yeah, because you're
yeah, I
also a part of the Bay as well, right? Another digital drama.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And the Bay's great because um it's sort of the opposite of Charlie Dale, Days of Our Lives. On the Bay, I play my character's name is Caleb McKinnon,
Mhm.
and he's a sweetheart. He's a puppy dog. He wears his heart on his sleeve. He cares about everybody else around him, especially Eric Nelson, who plays Daniel Garrett, and they ended up
Eric's
they
a
ended
good
up
guy.
getting
Yeah.
married. What?
I said Eric's a good guy. I know Eric.
Yeah, no, he's fantastic, and he's another scene partner where every time I get to act with him, it's a joy just because he gives so much.
Yeah.
And we have some stuff coming out in season 8 this season on the Bay. My character goes to Italy for a little bit, and you see in a series of flashbacks, and you actually see why he is the way he is a little bit more. So you're taking a character that fans have known because I started on season 6 and I
Okay.
was in season 6. I'm sorry, I lied to you. Season 5. I was in there as like a guest star. And then season 6, I was a little bit more. And then season 7, I was a series regular. Now season 8, I'm a series regular. And audiences are going to now get a glimpse into Caleb's life before going to Bay City and really get a sense of who he is as a person and why. And I think that's really cool. It's kind of like working backwards a little bit.
Also seems like more like your personality than Charlie.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It is. I
Attraction,
mean,
I
this is what I tell people. I say when it comes to good guys or bad guys, I say good guys are easier for me to play. Bad guys are more fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And dead guys aren't as challenging.
And dead guys, I just lay there, so it's fine.
So,
Yeah.
how many projects have you been killed in? And what was the worst way you went?
I mean, the nail gun was pretty bad,
It's pretty
but
brutal.
that was like one of my first projects. I think if not the first project. So I came out guns a-blazing.
Literally.
Um,
Nail guns.
yeah, nail guns a-blazing. Um, yeah, yeah, I don't. Yeah, and I got shot on days, and then I came back as the zombie, and then didn't Trip hit me with like
A shovel?
a shovel or a frying pan or something?
Yeah, because then they bury you again or something. Soaps are. I used to
Yeah,
work in the soap industry, so
I
I
don't
can.
know. I've been killed on a handful of projects.
Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah.
and don't get it. You seem very likable. So when you jump from acting to executive producing, it's it's a different hat, but do you feel like you bring a lot to it because you also come from the actor's perspective? Do you feel like you can relate more to the project because you have been in front of the camera? And also the flip side of that, do you have to dial back sometimes what your opinion is based on, okay, this is the actor, let him make his or her choice for it?
Yeah, I think that I love sort of sitting at the intersection of creative and business just because I love acting. I love playing pretend. I love using my imagination. And I love being around people that do that as well. And
Mhm.
then on the flip side, I love making things happen from the business side. And in the business side of acting and entertainment is something that I can control a little bit more. It's not me, you know, waiting around by the phone for permission to be a part of somebody else's world. It's
Right.
me creating a world and then inviting all my friends to be a part of it. So it is nice to sort of have that on the other side because then I can take control of my career a little bit and
Yeah.
I can take the roles that I'm doing, take that into my own hands a little bit and say, look, these are the types of projects I'm looking for. And
Yeah.
if I can't find that for myself, then I'm going to create it for myself and for other people. And it's nice. It's nice. It is a different hat.
Mhm.
I enjoy it, you know. I enjoy it almost just as much. I love the acting. I love playing pretend. Um, and then on the flip side, I love the amount of control and stability that producing brings. But like there was a project, for instance, called Slapface,
Mhm.
and we shot it at the end of 2019 and into 2020. And I for that project, I found the script. I worked on the script with the writer director. I cast the thing. I raised all the financing. We shot the thing. I was one of the lead actors in the thing, and then we edited it together. And then I delivered the film, and then we sold the film. So
Mhm.
it's like from soup to nuts. I was a part of every aspect of that film,
Yeah.
and when it came out, I was really, really proud of it. And it also allowed me, because I was a producer on the project, it allowed me to sort of take risks as an actor on set that I normally wouldn't have taken. So I would do a scene, and if I didn't feel good about it, you know, people would be like, "Oh yeah, I think we got it," and I'd be like, "No, I would like to do one more take," and they're like, "No, I think we got it," and I'm like, no, we're gonna do one more take
Mm.
because you know because I could say that because I had put this movie together, and if I wanted one more take, we're gonna do one more take, and so and I was able to try different things as an actor and take risks, knowing that I would be able to sort of if I hated the take, we didn't have to use that take, and obviously working with Jeremiah Kipp, the director, who was phenomenal to work with. Like obviously it was his ship, and you know we were working on it together. But but now I think my takeaway from that one is that like even if I am just an actor on a set, I want to come with ownership and with the ability to say, you know, I want to try it like this. I want to try it like this, and take those same risks, even if I'm not, you
Yeah.
know, executive producing something.
Well, I love that because it kind of goes kind of your through line of being an advocate. You're advocating for your projects. You've been advocating for HRC and a bunch of other a bunch of other things that you're involved in and love to be passionate about and use your voice for. Do you see that as like almost like a third job, that you're an advocate?
Yeah, good question. I never really thought of it that way, but yeah, I do. I guess I do see myself as an advocate. I think I just have that protector thing, just because of my like my younger brother and
Yeah.
sister and some of the stuff that we overcame in our childhoods. I think that I just have this like my first instinct is to jump to being a protector,
Yeah.
and yeah, I guess you're right. I guess I do take that, either protecting the role of as and the character, or protecting a project as a producer. I kind of do both. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll get 5% of any advocacy talks you do. Is that like how that works, or no, you already have somebody for that?
Yeah, no, I mean, if you
I said
listen,
5%, not 10. I'm not being greedy.
yeah, you don't be greedy. Come
See,
on.
good. I'll take 5.
Let's talk. I'll call my manager. We'll talk about
I will. She's
it.
lovely, by the way. I feel like she'd be agreeable to it. So what's coming up for you? Project wise, whether it's in front of, behind the scenes as an EP, like what's coming up?
Yeah, yeah. So there's a film that I wrote. They always say write what you know, and so I there's a film. It's a snowboarding movie with dogs. I love snowboarding. I love dogs. I love making movies. So I worked with this writer director Ari Novak, who's done a handful of these talking dog movies, and he was great. And we shot this in Montana, and it's called Powder Pup. It comes out March 26th, so a month from today, or about a month. And I'm really proud of that one. Lionsgate's releasing it. It's a family film. It has a lot of cool snowboarding moves and jumps and special effects and stunts and dogs and talking, and they talk, and then it has like a nice little through line in the story. So
Nice. And is that
um,
going to be in theaters? Is it for streaming?
I think it's on streaming is what Lionsgate's going to do. It's totally up to them. So
Probably get more eyes that way. Actually, you've got to embrace that, right? Now, this new, and how have you embraced that, knowing that streaming may get more eyes than a movie theater? Is that like
I
something you?
just want eyeballs. I just want eyeballs on the movies. So if it's something that more people are going to see from the comfort of their homes or their computers, then sure. If it's a movie that people are going to experience something different in a theater, and it makes a difference, then obviously I want that. But for this movie, I think that a streamer is just fine.
Yeah, and you're still advocating for the causes that you love, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. I still do a lot with like civil rights. I do a lot with I'm on the board of an organization called the Thirst Project, and we build wells in different communities around the world to provide them with clean drinking water. I'm
Awesome.
on the board of Legacy Youth Leadership, and it trains young people to be advocates for a variety of causes. So yeah, I'm still very much a part of all that.
And then you're the ambassador for Samantha's Friends, which combines your love of dogs and raising money. So I feel
Absolutely.
that's a win there. So how'd you get involved with them?
Yeah, so Samantha, a lot of that community, they're fans of Days of Our Lives. And so they reached out to me and asked if I would start coming to their events. And at the time, I think I was on Days at the time. And, Eric Martzoff went to the first one I went to because he does a lot of those. And
Mhm.
then I think Paul Telfer, who played my boss on Days, was there. I think Stacy was there. Yeah, and I think one or two others were there. So it was just kind of it was one of those things where I was like, oh, I'm gonna get to hang out with my Days cast members for a weekend and see how this goes. And then I went there and it exceeded all my expectations. The people were great. I had a lot of fun just dancing around and signing things and interacting with fans, and then the response with the fans to Charlie was different than I expected, because Charlie, my character, was a bad guy, but they were able to separate me from him. So they were like, Mike, we don't like the character, but we love you. You're a great actor.
Yeah.
Like thank you for, working hard on the show. And we can tell that you're trying to bring layers to this character and really make the most of it. So it was nice for them to recognize me for that. And then also, obviously, there are dogs there, and we're raising money for good causes. So it's a win-win.
And then you'll be down there in May of this year with your buddy Eric, with
Yep.
both Erics actually are going to be there, and Stacy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Eric Nelson's going to be there this time too. Yeah.
yeah, that'll be fun. We'll actually get a chance to meet down there, which I'm excited about. So this has been really
Oh, yeah.
great.
You'll be there, right?
I will be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll meet in person.
Yeah,
Great.
we'll
Yeah.
be able to meet in person. So don't cancel, or I'm going to get the nail gun out.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Maybe I should bring a prop. No, I'm teasing.
Please
The
don't.
part that will never get away from you, right? Everybody brings it up.
I mean, yeah, kind of, but it's kind of, everybody has an origin story, and Brad Pitt used to work as a chicken at a chicken restaurant, and
Yeah.
and some of his early movies are not that great either. So
It
yeah,
doesn't, it just shows your growth as an actor, and just the way your career has just gone up and up and up in terms of quality, in terms of your confidence. I can only imagine, like, that's why you're getting these different parts, and then being the EP, there's so much that goes into it. I think that's great. It shows the growth. And I think what job doesn't start at a level they wouldn't want to work at now? I mean, that's just natural, for everyone, whether
yeah.
you're an actor. So never be ashamed of what you've done and where you've come from.
Thank you so much.
And this has been really great. Looking forward to meeting you in person. We'll chat a little bit more down there, get a little follow-up maybe on your projects coming up in a couple months. And it's been a real pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brian.
All right.